Hey, you guys, this is Tired Goth, and you are tuned in to the Academia Gothica official podcast. Everyone, this is season 11, episode 1. We finally made it. I have been trying to pull this podcast together literally for several weeks now. Imagine being like 3 weeks late to your own show. I could, I could apparently. My intention is I could never, but that apparently happened with yes, I'm here. I'm here with all of you. I'm so happy to be here. It's season 11. We're going to get this started off properly. Welcome if you're new. Well, I want to say the better part of 2 years now. I started this last year. No, last year, excuse me. 20 I want to say 2021, like the tail end of 2021 into 2022. I want to say December 2021 is about to the demands of a group chat I was in. Everyone was like, you should start a podcast. Already writing a book and trying to pull all of my projects together with I was literally all right. I was on a phone writing my book, putting content together, recording episodes of the malware show and the computer show at some point. All of this was being done on Android phones at the time, and this was, a couple of years ago. And eventually I got upgraded to a laptop. I had some better tech to work with. And then I had to I had to replace that too as well. I had gone through quite a few situations that forcibly shedded me of a lot of the technology and the ability to advance that I deserved to have, actually. So, although circumstances aside, I'm still here. I'm still here with all of you. I'm still recording, and 2 years later, oh my gosh, three years later, we're in 2025. We are on season 11, on the first episode of the season. I'm so grateful to be back. I'm so grateful that all of you are here. If you are a returning listener, you know I'm glad to have you here. You already know you're here. And wow, okay, so let's see. I have quite a few topics to cover with you. If you have not been joining my group chat, like the current one that's run on chatcrypt.com, I've been using that as sort of like a very convenient medium for all of us to get together on. And I say this because everyone has access, more or less, to a web browser. And even though I'm a super techie nerd that happens to be very good with setting up IRC channels and getting everybody connected on the internet, I understand not everybody knows how to do that yet. They might need a little guidance from me. I'm so happy to give it to you, by the way. So definitely message me, ask me for advice on how to access the IRC channels, because you can do that via browser too. It's just a little different. Some of you may not have ever heard of IRC. That's a whole other thing that I'm trying to address here. It's short for Internet Relay Chat, and it is one of the oldest chat mediums and methods that people can ever use, apart from literally going into a computer terminal and typing someone's IP address and just sending the message there. That's arguably the oldest method of communication there, other than some other phone services, but we can we can get into that as well. I mean, there's a whole bunch to talk about there, but yes. So basically, currently I am in the process of putting together some more works for the publication. No Topic Publication and Press is one of my companies. It's one of the ways I distribute my own literature. I have published myself under this umbrella of a brand, and I also have offered to publish other edited works. If people are interested in being published, I am interested in publishing them. It's one of those things where I'm creating a label where artists, creatives, writers who have similar consciousnesses, conscious ideas of what society really is, can, come together and talk about their stories, talk about their intel, and share it publicly, and have a support, for that. Because it's, especially when you're, because I look at it this way, especially when you're brilliant, right? When you are a person of and with a brilliant mind and a mindset, people like to take advantage of that and hurt you with your own intel. And I just wanted to create a label where that didn't happen to people who deserved to have their voices heard. So that was one of the things that I managed to pull together over the last couple of years. No Topic Publication and Press has been in effect and distributing literature and attempting to reach the minds of other creatives like me since about 2021, around the same time, December 2021, with its first official copyrighted publication in February of 2022, I want to say. So, oh, it could have also been, no, no, okay. I definitely have some of the dates. Oh, no, that's true. Okay, so I want to say that by February 2022, that was when the first publication was actually put into effect. Um, Something to this effect. If not February 2022, it was February 2023 because there was like a whole year there where there were like so many things being put together. Yeah, I want to say that by February 2022, I was in the process of actually recovering the blog for Patreon. Oh my goodness, we're going through the whole history. We're going into the vault history of Academia Gothica and Kismet Superset, the Umbrella Corp that like, holds all these together, and the merch store actually. Um, so yes, let's backtrack properly. Okay, so by December 2021, I was doing all of the shows. And then I want to say by December 2022, that's what it was. By December 2022, I was getting requests for the podcast and then published the book online. It was privacy actually under no topic publication and press. And then by February 2023, I had everything published, like copyrighted, published, and everything, and it was on sale from there. So it's been about 2 years now, but my blog was under attack. Keep in mind, because I've been running this thing since 2018, right? From 2018 to about 2022, August 2022, everything was either in the process of being written, totally destroyed by hackers, and then I was locked out of my account for about a year. That's how that went. It was insane as a recovery process. People literally were trying to throw me under some sort of like spiritual jail here so that I didn't feel like I should keep going with my content, that I should give up, that I should never create again. And I said, no, F that. That's not who I am. I know I am here. I know my purpose, and you're not knocking me off my post. So goodbye. And, they're still stalking me. They're still following up with what I'm doing, trying to smash the next big thing I'm gonna put out. They're all in hell already. It's fine. I'm not even bothered by it. But yeah, for you listeners who are just tuning in, you could probably tell in the way that it was difficult for me to remember a lot of that stuff is how traumatic it actually was to me. I have to sit back and really think about how that actually went down over the last few years. Jeez. Sorry for the initial confusion. So it was 2022 where this really started to pick up and take off. After June 2022, I usually use as a marker for like when the publication really took off and took place because, you know, um, I was a writer since I was a young person, since way before I knew any of these people. And I got the inspiration to continue writing to kind of open my heart space, and that's what I did. And lo and behold, I wrote not only one book, but I put together a mini series that's in the works right now. So you can check that out at linktree, linktr.ee/academia_gothica for any pre-order information to the new books that are coming out. There's the podcast here on Academia Gothica and YouTube. If you haven't checked out the YouTube yet or haven't known where to go, it's TIREDG0THOX. That's my channel. Check that out. Like, share, and subscribe all of my videos. No, just kidding. Only like them if they really impress you, if you really like what I'm doing. You know, I appreciate all of the positive attention. Trust me, it means a lot to me. This wasn't easy to pull together for me, but I did it, and it was because of you. You all helped me. You all helped me with this. And it's like, man, if I could even tell you how impactful my good audience has been for me. I mean, you're everything to me. But yeah, let's not get too sappy here. Even though you deserve to know that you have that much of an impact on me. I just, let's move along. Let's carry on. So, moving on to the next topic. I actually got some really good tech recommendations. Like, I know that you guys, if you've been following the computer show, the malware show, also under the Academia Gothica umbrella, there are three companies that I'm currently like, manning well, two companies and then an education, resource that I'm pulling together here too. So there's No Topic Publication and Press. That's my book publication and edited written works publication and press. I'm working on the press part because obviously that's the more expensive part. If you don't know what a press is, it's a printing sort of distribution thing, which costs a little bit of money. It's one of those things where if you are interested in my content and you are supporting me by month through the Patreon subscriptions, the YouTube donations, once I get there, I'm trying to get 17,000 followers on YouTube. So if you'd like to help me with that, that is a free cause that would totally put me out into the algorithm and allow me to become monetized so I can also run these particular printing presses and things that I would like to do for others. There's this one initiative I've been trying to get off the ground forever, in order to create free business cards for people, just so they have a sheet of really nice business cards that they can pick and choose who to hand out to. You never know who you're going to be in a room with. It matters. It's one of those things that really, it can make or break some people's situations, and I would really like to be a support for that. So that's one of the initiatives that I have going for No Topic Publication and Press. And then in addition to this, there's Kissnet Superset. Kissnet Superset is the current merch store through myspreadshop.com. It is an online merch distribution that I run where all of the designs that are there, and you can shop by shelf, shop by design, and then click the design, and it opens up a merch shelf where you can then, see what's available in your size, in the certain t-shirt, water bottle, hat, templates, whatever it is. You can just open up the tray by design by clicking on the design itself, which is just like, it looks like a box or just a regular thing. And for each one, it opens up a tray where you can browse the rest of the merch that's there. Kisnet Superset started when I realized that empathy, realistically speaking, empathy and lending grace is my brand. Lending grace to people as they're figuring out what is unknown is my brand, whether it's in education, whether it's in figuring out everything about society that has come to matter to me, is all based in the root of empathy and the application of society for any cause and any reason. And, sometimes you just, you gotta have like a kiss and make up with your own concept of things and be like, is it really worth creating damage when I could create life? Is it really worth speaking death on something I hate when I could create solutions? So on and so forth. Like, it clicked one day for me, and I was like, yeah, this is my vibe. This is what I'm doing. So Kissnet Superset, in addition to the kind of like thing that I came to understand as a truth about myself and my brand and what I'd like to promote in society, I also ended up with a super cool clothing label and an online merch store. I, not to brag, but like I took some of the memes that I thought were super funny that a lot of hackers would probably understand as well. I mean, you have some malware reference material in there. You have like troll stuff. There are some tools that people might recognize in those. They're just not described as such. I mean, it's kind of exclusive. Like the way that Supreme and Bape and Bape TM, Supreme TM, we're not trying to get, sued here, but a lot a lot of those brands that are like, really exclusive, it's like if you know, that kind of thing. That is actually what Kissnet does, but that's a hacker thing. And maybe if, you want to be part of that, check out the tools, see if you understand what they are, but like I I don't know, it's one of those that if you know, you know. But um yes, so you can check that out. If you'd like to support, feel free to buy the merch, but I'm definitely also not trying to have people flaunt my merch with bad intentions. I'm a good person. I want decent people to be wearing my merch. You know what I mean? If you're one of those ne'er do dwell near me is all I'm saying. So um so yeah, there you go. There's also the Patreon. The Patreon has probably been the longest standing artifact of this entire thing as it's been built, but you're only going to see for now the 2022 kind of introduction into what it is I was already doing since 2018, because the 2018 model of the blog, which I think I have like screenshots and snippets of some of the stuff I was doing then, actually got hacked to shreds. There were people literally targeting my passwords and removing my own access as the owner of the whole page from me. And they were doing this so I wouldn't talk about what I was talking about. They were doing this so I wouldn't spread threat intel as they were attacking people. I was under fire because people were literally trying to harvest off of the hard work and research and investigations that I was doing into stuff that I noticed was a problem so that they could take it and innovate it and turn it into something else and then slap their own agenda label on it and so on. Like I literally watched it happen. I watched myself get exploited and I was like, this is where my empathy comes in because if that thought really was what these people thought was going to help them, then their reward is still false, but at least they understood what compassion was from the person that robbed them. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't actually get to the compassion part. They don't get to the empathy part because a lot of people who do this stuff anyway usually try to unalive the people that they're getting their resources from. They think that that's all they're supposed to do in life, and it's not. And it's pathetic to me, but my opinions don't matter as they're learning what their own place in the universe is. You know what I mean? It's like that my opinion of them is none of their business, and also their opinion of my work outside of what I earned and what I deserve to have, as it will definitely show, has nothing to do with them. But people always try to work their way into situations that have no validity on their part. They try to include themselves where they don't fit. And it's like, you're a puzzle piece in someone's puzzle. It's just that it's not this one. That's the only thing that's really the takeaway for a lesson in some situations. But apart from all that and how that works, it did impact my business, right? To bring it back to how this all happened, it did impact my business, and it did, you know, did its best to hurt me, and it still didn't necessarily work because I mean, look, I'm here years later, established. I have a follower base, I have fans, I have people who support me, I have people who believe in my prospects, my work, my job, like what I care about doing. And on top of this, I am an educator with intimate knowledge of how terrorism, step by step, has its ways and methods to attempt to groom the public and how to stop it. I mean, I'm literally I have felt so blessed even in my hardship because everything that a person or a group or an attack could throw at me, I learned from this. I had the wisdom and the discernment to pick it apart and dissect it for what its worth could become, to stop it from happening to other people. This is realistically speaking, this was the treasure for me. It wasn't about the money, it wasn't about the upgrades, it wasn't about, you know, people just being like, yeah, good job. It wasn't about the accolades. It was about the fact that I know now that if people need help, I can provide it to them and just endlessly. It would make me so happy to be able to help people so that they have a point of reference for what is ahead of them in the case that they run into these crazy nut jobs who did this to me or anyone like them. It sounds a little like, oh, well, what are the odds of that? I, the queen of trying to calculate risk, right? That's how I am. That's who I am. If you've never known that about me, I didn't think that was ever going to be a thing I'd have to worry about, and it was. And you know what I realized? The one thing that could have saved me was taking interest in something ahead of time before I ever knew I was interested in it. It's one of those things. It's like, try a new thing. Yeah, but why? Yeah, this is why. You never know. You never know if it could help you. And I happen to be a person who genuinely loves to help and would love to help you. So if you are interested in buying into something that I could provide you with, teach you a new thing, teach you some things you maybe never knew about yourself that you could really enjoy about your new selections, your new choices in life, your new path in life, whatever it could be. I mean, you could still align with whatever it is you're already doing, but like you never know if something could help you. You could end up knowing that thing to help another person, which would be even more beautiful, right? Because that's ultimate selflessness. There are so many ways that this could go, and I'm so grateful. I'm so proud of everyone who took the chance on me, but I'm also so grateful for everybody who is just open-minded to help other people and by improving themselves. I'm very like that. I'm very much like that, but it's not an easy way to be because nobody wants you to really improve outside of a matrix. You know what I mean? If society is built a certain way, no one really wants you to improve outside of it and prove that, or rather disprove that their matrix is the be all end all, that it's all that you ever need to trust. And that is one of the problems here. You have people constructing these matrices and then trying to kill off other people that disprove that their work is valid, because their work was never valid, actually. That it was working against you the whole time, actually, right? And this is exactly the type of thing that people want to keep under wraps. It's why people like the founder of Cash App disappeared, got unalived. This is why these things happen, because they were innovators that proved people wrong and said that the way everything was being done, it got stuck being done that way, didn't have to be that way. That's why these people suffered. That's why these conspiracies were chatted about. I mean, not everybody knows about that particular situation, right? But this is why these things had occurred. It's the ultimate reason why people disappear, why people, get hits put on each other. Excuse my language. It's a terrible thing to bring up, and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ, because no man should be looking at another person as if they are a price tag. Even in business, have some integrity, have some focus on what you're really doing. This is a person, this is a mind, this is humanity you're handling. And it needs to be, it as a concept, the humanity of a person needs to be handled with care. It's not something you could just bang around in a box like a UPS delivery driver. I've seen you deliver stuff, by the way. UPS, don't even front. TM, UPS, TM. Anyway, so all I'm saying is these types of things are things to consider when we're talking about the integrity of our work and what it is we're really here to do, and what it is we're really combating when we're combating evil and good or whatever. Why would we combat good, really? Even if it looks through slander, through biopics that are lopsided, through situations that frame it to be a bad thing, why would we take that over the wisdom and discernment we have in our own experience, that there are liars paid to lie, that there are deceivers paid to deceive, that there are actors paid to act against good for an agenda that is serving evil. And some of these people serving evil, they are open and outright. They're like, yeah, I'm just serving this agenda, serving da 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 da. They'll tap dance around it all day long, make it look as entertaining as anything you've ever seen, and then you still have the message that they're giving you. I work against you. I'm just more fun than you, right? Because I have the money to be more fun than you, because I stole to be more fun than you, because I committed crime to be more fun than you, because I did this to look more fun than you in the face of people who should be trusting you instead of me, right? That's how these agendas work. Wow, we just dove headfirst into this podcast. I had a lot to say since season 10. Season 10 was actually, that was like the occult collection there. I talked a lot about spirituality and spiritual warfare and things like this. And here in this particular situation, um it's just there's so much that I feel like I have to say, not because I have to, but because it's like I've held it so close to me until the right time to talk about it with you, to bring it to the public. I've missed you all. I've missed my audience so much. And I've don't get me wrong, I wasn't late for no reason. There was actually a lot going on that I don't even know if I could disclose as openly. I mean, I was having a lot of difficulties that I feel weren't necessarily for me to be having. It's just that, like, they were just another set of levels and devils set in my way to kind of push out of my way, like, no, in favor of my work, in favor of what I really care about. And that's you. That's you, and that's me, and that's what I came here to do. I'm, in a sense, I feel like if I'm going to be anybody's leader at all, right? If I'm going to be anyone's inspiration or check back at all, I have to at least have not only my sense of integrity in check, but like what it is that I really set out to do in my day as my goal and everything. If I'm going to do it improperly, if I'm going to have all these problems and strings attached to it, then obviously, yes, you can use that as an example of working against or through adversity and making it to your finish line. But you also have the situation where you want to present for your public, for your community in a way that resonates with them so they have a way to relate to you. And people really, like, I'll say this, the circumstances I had been in really challenged my ability to present myself as I really am, which is a person who is organized, a person who's thorough on time. I hold to my appointments. I care about what it is that's going on. And I had circumstances that I felt were too private to speak on publicly because you know how the public can be. The public will come to you and say, "Oh, look at all these problems she has. Obviously, there's something wrong." And this is the agenda of evil. This is the devil's raggedy ass showing face. Like, look at this one. She's not together. When I am, it's just that it's like if you're tearing all the packs that I've put together off of my back and throwing them off the side of the mountain that I just climbed up to get where I am and telling me I don't have my shit together when it's your hands doing this to me, you don't have a right to speak on how organized I am. You don't have a right to speak on anything I'm doing because you're targeting me to make me look like something I'm not. And that's just simple and plain. That's just what that is. So I mean, to me, that's common sense, but apparently common sense hasn't been so common for a while if people are still willing to buy into a bunch of farce nonsense. But in any case, I've definitely been in touch with my desire to provide excellent content and just excellent conversation topics, postures, things like that for my community. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. Like, oh my gosh. Oh Lord. So yes, also I got put onto something pretty cool today. I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of AI, just to get into like the technical part of the podcast real quick, right? Um, some of you may know that I'm actually very against AI. I don't love AI. In a generation where everybody's using AI, I'm one of those like sticks in the mud that's like, I don't know. I don't know if this is the way to go. I don't know if this is what we should be doing. I don't think this is good. I don't like it. Right? I'll be that one. But the whole AI thing has actually it's come to be like a point of meditation for me, right? I've noticed that AI can be really, really good for some things, right? Not to damn the tool entirely, but like AI can be really good for some things, but it can also be really detrimental to, I guess you could say, like tried and true things, right? It's almost as if we're taking a robotic process that can replicate and fabricate and do menial or mediocre or deemed mediocre. We're not saying that the work is actually mediocre, but it's like repetitive tasking that could really that could serve actually as good practice for someone if they're trying to like burn something into their heads. And one of the ways to do that is to code it over and over and over again so you never forget it, right? That is one way that AI takes away from people, right? And I are on the side of AI being the thing that takes away more than it gives, but we'll see. There are also situations where like if you don't have enough time, you're restricted in your time resources. AI is really good for replicating that kind of stuff, but you also get a lot of mistakes through AI that are very inhuman in error because they lack common sense that a person would have if they were seasoned in programming things a certain way. So that's the same with information distribution. That's the same with information replication. AI kind of serves as like a very fancy telephone game when it comes to information and replication. And I've said this in one of my malware show episodes, one of my computer show episodes. I tend to talk about how AI is like it's a tool that can be used. It's just not the be all end all or the first choice that a person should go to. And I say that because with artificial intelligence, it's so unstable in some ways that really defy the natural human intelligence that it has been valued as the tool. So AI as a replacement for the natural human intelligence that retains information and distributes it with eloquence and distributes it with accuracy and this eloquence together. I mean, this is something that could not be traded in or even quantified as a worth ever. This is something that people strive to get paid for in mass amounts in their lives through a paycheck, through resourcing, through brand deals, through things like that. This human intelligence and its delivery is actually what is being considered the point of wealth that AI tries to achieve. But AI as a practice is inherently flawed in ways that cannot achieve this kind of wealth. And it's because it is only ever as a computer going to be as smart as the person or group that programmed it. And even with an information harvesting ability to collect mass amounts of information that has been repeated across billions of sources all across the universe. I mean, this is also something that could inherently just repeat itself and not quite get to the real thing, which is the human mind. And there are countless replications, there are countless things that are meant to fabricate or emulate or imitate things that are very entertaining, but they're not the real deal. And I feel like what is concerning about society deferring to AI for some things is that they're relying on AI to become the real deal instead of being brave enough to seek what the real deal really feels like, which is very tangibly uncomfortable to find sometimes. Some of the most brilliant minds you will ever find are the most abrasive people because they're guarding what they know to be the treasure of their minds. They are smart enough, they're wise enough to know that that is what people would come for if they were to come for them and ruin them. So obviously people are like, well, let's find a way around it because, people are afraid. They're cowards. I don't want to say it like that, but we all have moments of cowardice. Every single I do. I'm afraid of things. I'm afraid of wolf spiders dodging across my floor, at top speed with their little fuzzy legs. I'm scared of that. I love spiders too, but I'm afraid of that, right? I have moments of cowardice. I would run away from that and then grab a cup and try to put it over the spider and gently carry it out of my house so I never had to see it again. This is a moment of cowardice, whether or not you realize, that it is. And we are all, every single one of us, prone to these moments of cowardice, but it's how we handle them. It's how we approach them, right? Cowardice, when faced properly, turns into bravery, but cowardice, when addressed to satisfy the self, is not bravery. It is true cowardice. And fear is the root of cowardice, I feel, cowardice allows fear to shy us away from what it is we know we need to do in that situation. And I feel like AI has become the enabler of social cowardice and our social interactions. Because notice how many people would convene over talking about the machine itself and how impressive it is that it knows all these things, but they won't talk about themselves or amongst themselves about what they know, about what ideas they would be comfortable and happy to trade. And it's because we live in an information age that is gutting us alive for what it is that is actually in our minds. And that we're using AI as a buffer for this to talk about, oh, it's like a displacement kind of thing where we talk about the AI instead of talking to each other and socializing and breeding and procreating and going back to our primal situations. Like, people are trying to call this an ascension when what it is it's really the death of human life itself. I don't mean to say it with a sense of humor that takes it lightly, but no, it's actually quite serious. It's just you have to laugh at some point and see what it is for what it really is. And then, kind of just relieve the stress about it, because it's like, holy shit, this moment of enlightenment has taught me, myself as I am, that I'm a pawn to these people, whether or not I'm conceding to their ideas, whether or not I'm giving in to what they want me to do. And I just have to figure out who would not treat me that way and get to them instead. That's the real thing you want to start building with. It's a group of people that don't look at you like a resource, but they look at you as a person first who has resources that you on your own volition would be able to contribute as something. I mean, we've lost that in people. We have lost that in society, and I feel like the desperation aspect is the pressure attempting to keep that dead when it doesn't need to be. But hey, that's just my opinion on the first episode back on my 11th season of my podcast, right? Um, with that said, though, I really do. I love you guys. I'm so grateful to be back speaking with you. If my words have touched your ears today, I hope the takeaway was something that inspired you to be your best and most ambitious self, not at the expense of other people, not at the rules and rates and parameters of a matrix that was already built for you, but within one that truly respects you and the others you would be working with at this point in our human expansion, our human understanding, our comprehension of who and what we really are. And I hope you move forward with love in your heart, grace, and compassion, because while it's a competition, we all know how it feels to compete, and maybe competition can fall to the back burner in favor of compassion for what it really is to compromise. I feel like that might be the best way to go about this. I love you all. This is Tired Goth signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, for being here, and for being a supporter of my channel. The chat crypt thing, right? Okay, I almost forgot about that. Chatcrypt.com if you're interested in chatting with me after this show, or at any point. If I have a Wi-Fi spot, a Wi-Fi connection, I will be able to chat with you. I am in academia_gothica. That's the room name. And the password is yes, I did that. YESIDIDTHAT. And that is your room. I changed the password from the last one, so this is the new room. And you'll see me in there as Tired Goth with a 0, and I hope to see you there. Thanks so much. If you're interested in donating to my cause at any point, I have a Cash App point of receipt where you can donate. It's XO14337. And you also have the opportunity to check out any of my hosted works on the Linktree. These are websites where I create my own content, I create my own merch, so on and so forth. You can purchase a book through No Topic Publication and Press at the Cash App business, where it is listed, and this is USRBIN. It's spelled like user bin, like the introduction for a programming type of intro to a script. So it's USRBIN, that's B like Bobby. And you can order a book through me. You can order any type of format. There are more instructions at the Linktree website. That's linktr.ee/Academia Gothica. And Lord, I am so grateful for all of your attention here. I'm so grateful for you all, for your precious lives. You are so meaningful, not just as investors, but as people receiving information and using your conscience to distribute it wisely, effectively, and with gratitude to the person who gave it to you. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. And I'll catch you next week for the next episode. Take care, everyone. Love you. Bye.